welcome. You're listening to the Louie Minor Show. I'm your host, Bell County Commissioner Louie Minor. We are back from NACO, the National Association of Counties 2025 Legislative Conference, and there'll be more on that later on in the show. But let's go ahead and get started with our agenda for Monday. Now, Monday is not the first or third Monday of the month, which that is where our new meeting times have gone to. But we did not have a meeting last week because we did not have a quorum. So they have they called a special meeting for Monday, I guess, to get us caught up. Anyways, first thing on the agenda is the invocation. Then we have the Pledge of Allegiance, consent agenda items. We have, consider the approval of the minutes for February 18th, 2025 meeting of the Commissioners Court. We have personnel, budget amendments, claims, accounts payable, payroll, restitution, jury pay. Then we have consider a request submitted by the district attorney to allow for 2 additional week overlap for the retirement of their existing office supervisor. And we have consider authorizing the donation of one 2022 police package Chevy Tahoe, VIN number 1GNSCLED 5NR 135580 to the City of Little River Academy. Then consider authorizing a contract with Affiliated Communications using Purchasing Cooperative DIR CPO 5390 for $92,560.86 to upgrade the county's voice over internet protocol VoIP phone system to the newer telecom standard SIP. Then consider authorizing transfer of one 2023 Ford F-150 VIN number 1FTNF 1CF 1DKD 83953 for the Director of Contract Management to the Sheriff's Office. That's everything for the consent agenda. County engineer items: consider and approve the final plat of Moffett Water Supply Edition, being a 2-acre, 1-lot, 1-block subdivision located within Bell County Precinct 3. Then consider and approve final plat of Winkler Plot, being 1.29 acres, 1-lot, 1-block subdivision located in Bell County Precinct 3. Item C, consider and approve the final plat of Mockingbird Acres, being a 67.669 acre, 14-lot, 1-block subdivision located in Bell County Precinct 3. And then item D, consider and approve the replat of Shores 8 Hood Section subdivision replat, being 0.2386 acres, 1-lot, 1-block subdivision located within Bell County Precinct 1. Let's see. Then we have consider ratifying action taken by the Bell County judge to terminate an interlocal agreement between Burnett County for inmate housing guaranteed bed space. B, consider authorizing the county judge to enter into a contract with Burnett County for inmate housing as needed basis for a rate of $80 per inmate per day. C, consider authorizing the county judge to sign a FY 2025 increased law enforcement contract with amendment of solicitation modification of contract solicitation number W1926G25Q0008 between the Bell County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for Stillhouse Lake Hollow Recreation Area, effective from May 17, 2025 to September 7th, 2025. And then D, consider authorizing the county judge to sign a FY 2025 increased law enforcement contract and amendment of solicitation modification and contract number W9126G25Q008 between the Bell County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for Belton Lake area recreation area effective May 4th, 2025 to September 20th, 2025. E, consider using vacancy funds from the District Attorney's Office FY 2025 budget to funding adding a district staff attorney position as an overhire for the remainder of the fiscal year. F, consider authorizing district attorney to add an additional investigator position as a group step 31408. G, consider extension of an order restricting outdoor burn ban. Item F, consider canceling the contract and PO 292605 between Bell County and Neal Architecture Group signed November 8th, 2021 for the design of the Temple Annex, and authorize the county judge to enter into a contract with Garcia Architects for the design of the Temple Annex at a cost not to exceed $332,000. Then we have item E, closed session, section 551.076, deliberation about deployment or specification, implementation of security personnel or devices, juvenile probation department. That is everything for our agenda. Now let's go to the workshop. Bear with me. Reports and updates from county offices and departments, capital improvement projects. We have update on jail expansion, Killeen Annex, diversion center renovations, FY 2025 CIP plan. Then we have discussed the Texas Incident Support Task Force with Texas Division of Emergency Management representatives. Then we have discuss fire marshal compensation and certification stipends. Third item is discuss technology services request to reclassify a vacant program analyst 3 position to a business analyst 2 position. And then discuss reclassifying a vacant payroll specialist position, moving this position to an accountant assistant position. And then finally discuss FY 2026 community project funding requests. And then that is it for the morning. And then in the afternoon of the 10th, we have our budget kickoff. So that is everything that we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Do have a couple of things for meetings. March 14th, 2025, 3 p.m. retirements reception for Adela Gomez. She worked in the district attorney's office. And then we have April 2nd at 11 a.m. ribbon cutting for the Chillingham project. That is a solar farm. And then on the 9th, we have Central Texas Community Health Summit, connecting the dots at UMHB. And then on the 26th, we have the county auction surplus items. And that is everything, at least for now. There is a CUC meeting coming up. That's Conference of Urban Counties, but I think we'll be good there. And that is everything for your agenda and your workshop for the Bell County Commissioners Court, March 10th, 2025. So as I said at the beginning of the show, that I was at the National Association of Counties 2025 Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. We get together from all over the country, elected officials and staff, county commissioners, county judges, county executives, supervisors. They have all kind of names. Even in Louisiana, they have, I think they're called police jurors, something like that. So yeah, but anyways, get together. We vote on our policies and what we want, what we're looking for, and partnering help from the federal government, and then we go out and talk to our legislators. And so, I did that last year, first time doing it, learned a lot. Went this year, and I really enjoyed doing that. Working with other elected officials and going to talk to members of Congress, and it's definitely an art that you have to learn how to do that, because most of the times you're meeting with the staff. You don't meet with the member because they're busy doing something, but every now and then you do get to meet that staff or that congressman or woman, and so it's always an honor to get their time for that because they're getting pulled at a lot of places. But I want to play a little clip from the National Association of Counties highlight reel that they had for the 2025 conference, just so you kind of understand what all this involves.
In general session remarks at the 2025 NACO Legislative Conference, members of President Trump's cabinet and speakers from both chambers of Congress recognized the crucial role counties play in the intergovernmental partnership.
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for allowing me to be here and speak to you a little bit.
That's why we're all in this business, right? Let's solve problems. Let's improve people's lives.
In my time in public service, and I am Oregon's longest serving member to be coming up, I have never enjoyed more working with NACO. You all are the gold standard for grassroots involvement. I can't hear you because you deserve more. You are the gold standard for getting people involved in government.
To every county commissioner, every judge, every board member, every sheriff, every fire chief, every public health and safety leader here today, the work you do is so close to my heart. I am proud to be among you. I am proud to fight this fight alongside you.
Whether you serve at the federal level or the local level or the state level, we're all about people. We are all in the people business. Our issues may be a little bit different, but we're there to serve the people.
County leaders departed the general session to participate in a County Advocacy Day of Action, energized by the words of these speakers and empowered to make the case for county policy priorities.
There's your little clip of what we do at NACO. Typically what we do is we get there before the weekend, meet over the weekend, go over all the stuff, vote on all the things that we want, all the policies that we're going to advocate for, and then that Monday and Tuesday we'll go and advocate to our local legislators, and then obviously other ones. So I met with Representative Pfluger's staff. This is actually the first time because I've been to DC 2 times, and both times that I did go, I was able to meet with Representative Pfluger's staff, or Representative Pfluger, but this time he wasn't available. Keep in mind that we're about to shut down the government on the 14th of March because we may not have funded the government. So that's what they're working on over there for that. So whenever I got back, I met with the paper. I talked to the paper, and they wrote an article. And I don't think they understood what I was trying to say. They kind of did, but the headline is Chaparral Road funding cut off by federal government, says county commissioner. So it was never funded to begin with. We just submitted an application requesting grant money for assistance for it. So yeah, we were never funded for it. We're actually in line to get funding for it. That's what we're trying to do. But they said definitely all the community project requests for this year are not going to be funded, and that we need to reapply. Pretty much just change the dates on everything we applied for 2025, and then that we'll be able to do it again. for 26. So I'll read the article real quick, what the paper said. The Chaparral Road widening project in South Killeen is apparently a casualty of a potential government shutdown next week, as Bell County Commissioner Louie Minor, D. Killeen, told the Herald that it was one of the 15 community projects submitted by August Pfluger that was axed. There were community projects funding requests submitted by every local congressman that were eliminated due to a continuing resolution with the request as part of the efforts to keep the government open, Minor said. Pfluger, a Republican, represents Texas's 11th congressional district, extends from Killeen to far west Texas. The federal government is slated to shut down March 14th unless a deal can be reached over funding for the government. Minor also said he is close to certain that the Rancier extension in North Killeen would likely be another casualty. They asked us to resubmit for the fiscal year 2026, Minor said. The Chaparral project is not expected to start until late 2029. The total cost of the project is $100 million, Minor said. The majority of the project relies on federal grants. The Killeen Metropolitan Planning Organization was supposed to provide $12 million, but said last month that funding was under review at the federal level. Minor recently returned from a trip to D.C. where he met with federal officials and congressional representatives as part of the National Association of Counties. Between March 1st and March 4th, about 2,000 other county leaders from across the country were present. Minor said some of these cuts were a result of the change of administration and that the current climate of the federal government. I think it's $4 trillion in tax cuts that they want to do. Minor is referring to the Trump's administration. They have to cut it from somewhere. So Minor also said that these cuts, bonds are likely going to lose their tax-exempt status, making the $155 million new City Hall bond that the city is pushing for more expensive. He said it still needs to pass. That's a cost that's going to get passed to property tax owners, Minor said. Hopefully they'll listen and not approve that part. Minor also warned that cuts to Medicaid and Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, will likely be passed on to the county as well, because residents will have to seek out food banks and other to the counties for indigent health care. The costs have to go somewhere, he said. So yes, all those things are true. Like I said, the actual funding for Chaparral Road, it's kind of in the weeds. So we requested money and we're hoping to get money. Now, the fact that we requested money doesn't mean we're necessarily going to get it. That happens all the time, that, agencies, counties, governments, they'll ask for money and never get it. But this is one that we keep on pushing for because it's needed, and that hopefully one day we'll get funded. But definitely 0% of any funding requests are going to get funded for 2025. That is 100% certain. So now what we're going to have to do, and you heard whenever I was going through everything for the workshop, that was something that we discussed, that we're going to discuss on the workshops, that that funding is gone. Any funding request that we're anticipating for 2025, it's dead in the water. So we'll see what happens and what we're going to do, and if the government will be open. I mean, this administration has been going full blast. Just, there's a picture with Elon Musk in that chainsaw, and he's supposed to be slashing government. Well, that's true. That's what he's doing. But slashing government and the way that they're doing it, primarily, as at least right now, with firing federal employees, those are people. Those are voters. those are people and their families that have depended on those jobs. I used to be a federal employee, and there was some safety and security with getting a federal job. Highly coveted to get a federal job, and something that you wore with pride that, hey, I'm a federal employee. I'm working for the American people, and that's not the case anymore. So that's about all the craziness I want to cover in DC. A lot of, we met with Republicans and we met with Democratic staff and legislators over there, and I fully expected and understand that the Democratic representatives didn't know what was going on. They had a fingers crossed mentality. Well, let's hope this, let's hope that. But I get it, that they're not in power. So, of course, they're going to be left out of the conversation. What I was surprised is that the Republican representatives were equally unaware of issues that are going to be affecting us. And that really surprised me. I was really shocked that Republicans were unsure too. At least the rank and file ones that we spoke to. I'm sure probably the upper, leadership probably has an idea of where they're trying to steer the boat. But yeah, the rank and file, the staff members that hadn't trickled down, and it was obvious because there was not a lot of senior staff that participated at NACO. Last year, whenever I came, President Biden came and spoke to us. But that wasn't happening. So, but anyways, more to follow. There's plenty of craziness going on in DC, but there's also plenty of crazy going on here in Texas. Where we are have a legislature in session. So the voucher bill is raging on there, and I went to Brad Buckley. He had a town hall here locally, and so I'll play a little bit of it just so you can hear how it was, how the local citizens were taking his voucher bill.
Okay, let's do that, and we're going to stay behind. And anyone who has questions can ask us afterward. Nobody's names are on them. Okay. So
I had one to be part of Project 2025 because I'm not happy with this crap that's going on.
What?
I'm part of that.
I'm not part of Project 2025. Excuse me? What?
Because that's what it is.
I have no idea about Project 2025. Yes, Mr. Arias, Colonel Arias.
I appreciate you coming here. I appreciate the explanation. The question I had asked was on the bottom of the pile was regarding the ability of Texas to vote on this. And several years ago, we voted on a proposition just to allow state police dogs to give given to their handlers. So why would we not be able to vote as Texas on a proposition where we're going to change really the fundamental financing?
Yes, amen. Let us vote. Let us vote.
Well, I think the Constitution is clear that we have to provide a fair public system of education, and this is public funding of education, and I feel like it doesn't need a constitutional amendment, and it's important. And to know, we're not on the bloody edge here. There are 31 other states that have some form of school choice, and what you found is that public schools do better typically, and that you find that they're able to have multiple options for parents.
That is a lie.
And kids do. Well, it's not a lie.
It is a lie.
Okay. All right. Well, we are beyond our time here. I'll be happy to stay behind and have a conversation with anybody that would like to talk. And I appreciate you being here. This is our contact information here. If you need anything, you can reach out, and I'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you.
So you heard it was very heated. I think he attended up in Palestine. He attended another town hall, and I think it was scheduled to go for 2 hours, and it didn't even go that. There were a lot of people yelling and screaming. So he's feeling the heat. He did say, I don't know if I caught it on my video or not, that when they asked about voting for it, he was like, well, the people did vote for it. They voted for it in the Republican primary. And I'm sorry, that's not the majority of people in Texas. So, that was a very good question brought up by Mr. Airy, who is a property tax hawk. And it's crazy what they're trying to do with public school. I am an avid listener to podcasts, and one of the podcasts that I was listening to that was talking about this is that they said that even 1%, if 1% of the students leave the schools, that the teacher retirement system of Texas will be actuarially unsound. Now, that should be scary for a lot of people, especially our teachers, teachers that are working, teachers that are retired. That my sister, she's a school counselor, so I'm sure she's in the teacher retirement system, and that's scary stuff. Scary stuff that they're playing with, and just that only say 100,000 people are going to access that when we have millions and millions of kids in school, and they're only giving $1 billion, $1 billion to 100,000 kids that are going to benefit the wealthy. So let's hope that we could keep the pressure on them and that doesn't happen. But we have two representatives, and if you remember, I talked to you the other week because I put a press release out, and it was in the paper, of Representative Hicklin, who is just totally offended, clutching her pearls from a pride flag that I have in the courthouse. And she had mentioned that she was going to be filing a bill to end that practice. And she has, lo and behold, true to her word, she filed it. So let's look at what it says. This is, well, first of all, let me read the statement that she put on Facebook, and might even read a couple of the comments. Now, this is on her page, her page, Hillary Hicklin for Texas, and she actually tagged me in it, Bell County Commissioner, Precinct 4, Louie Minor, and this was posted on March 7th at 15:03. Yesterday, I filed HB 3990 to establish a clear policy for flags flown in our government buildings. This ensures that our taxpayer-funded offices do not serve as a platform for political activism. This policy was supported at the national level by the Trump administration, and it's time Texas follows suit. Our government buildings should reflect unity, tradition, and respect for our states and nations. Let's keep Texas strong. Respect our flags, Texas values, blah, blah, blah. So that's what she said. And let's look at the remarks that, obviously this is her campaign page, so there's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to be in support. But reading through it, I heard, there were some interesting comments on it. Let me see. Here goes. Thank you. The last thing I care to see when I'm driving by the courthouse or walk into a school is a flag advertising what type of sex people have. Completely inappropriate and bizarre to display sexual preferences in a taxpayer-funded business or school environment. Let's see. Bell County Republican Party, Six Flags is not a government entity. I don't know what that is supposed to be for. Rock on, yes, thank you. Take it down and take it home with you. You'd appreciate it more when you're driving than we do driving by the courthouse. This is the one that I wanted to. Someone said, "What about historic U.S. flags? Flags for the purpose of teaching about other nations. The Six Flags of Texas, MIA, POW flags need some massaging." Someone said, "Yes." So does this include the Texas and U.S. flags that are rainbow colored, like Louie Minor has displayed in his office windows at the courthouse? Technically, they are U.S. and Texas flags, but he said he could display, but they are not the right colors. And let's see what Miss Hicklin replied to that. I just reread and saw that you have the right colors. Awesome. And then she said 100%. Then someone put, you seem to be threatening the person you are targeting, not real discreet. There are you. Seems to have enough experience being a mean girl, but that's about it. It's a shame that you are teaching children to ignore the freedoms we have come to cherish. And then, hi, I feel a bit out of the loop. I'd like to know more. What other flags were regularly flown on those buildings? Is this a preventative bill? Thank you. But yeah, so, I mean, it's kind of like all over the place. She doesn't like my flag, which they're not there for her. And anyways, let's read the bill. Let's see what the bill says that she is sponsoring, that she authored. So this is it by Hicklin, HB number 3990, a bill to be entitled an act relating to the display of flags of a building owned or operated by a state, a municipality, or a county. Be it enacted by the legislature of the state of Texas, Section 1, Subtitle E, Title 10, Government Code is amending by adding chapter 2207 to read as follow. Chapter 2207, Display of Flags, .001, Applicability. This chapter applies to a building owned or operated by this state, a municipality, or a county. 2207.002 defines that this chapter display means to exhibit in a place or an object where a person visiting or employed at a building may see the object. And then display of flag 003, a building may not display, and this state or a municipality or county may not permit an employee, agent, or volunteer to display any flag other than the United States flag, the state flag, or the official flag of a municipality or county. The United States flag or state flag displayed at a building at which this chapter applies must be an official flag in the official colors and may not be altered. Section 2. This act takes effect September 1st, 2025. So that's it. That's her bill. To me, it seems poorly written. There's a lot of questions that can be put on this. So we'll have to see. I'll be surprised if it gets a committee hearing or not. And yeah, so good luck with that, Representative Hicklin. I'm sure with all your 30 something bills. Let me see. Let me see how many bills you filed. Yeah, 36. I'll be very surprised if any of them make it to law. Yeah. So good luck. I'm sure you're going to be a one and done because I'm pretty sure Hugh Shine's going to come after you again. And you won't have the governor to protect you this time because he's going to have his voucher bill. So he ain't going to care. And you're going to be all by your lonesome. And I think Hugh is going to take great pleasure in beating you next election cycle. So he took one out, one crazy woman that we had before, Miss Molly White. And I'm sure when people see all the BS that you're doing down at the Capitol, that your days are numbered. So either with that, with Hugh coming after you, or with Jennifer Lee, who's going to run against you again, or maybe even Commissioner Minor and his federal lawsuit that he has with the state of Texas over the House lines here in Bell County, the state House lines. I had a phone call last Sunday, and now that case is moving. I think they're going to be setting up a hearing date here pretty soon, the end of this month or maybe next month, where it is going to go to trial. And I might have to fly to El Paso and testify. And I'm excited for that because it is obvious that Bell County's state house seats were gerrymandered by race, diluted the black and brown vote in Killeen. If you remember, the first map that the state did pretty much did what you should have done, cut the county in half, and you had the east side and the west side. But because Representative Buckley has never won Killeen, he's always lost Killeen, he would have lost his seat. And they couldn't have that, could they? So what did they do? They redid the map. They took some of Hugh Shine's districts, precincts, and gave them to Buckley. And I think that's probably why Hugh Shine lost his primary, because these were new voters he's never had before. They didn't know Hugh Shine. They didn't know him. So there was no loyalty to him. And I think Harker Heights was a big problem for Hugh because he never represented Harker Heights before. So anyways, we're already talking about 2026. By the end of this year, you're going to be me, candidates will be filing to run for re-election. And yes, secrets out of the bag, I am running for re-election. I enjoy serving the people and of Precinct 4 of Killeen, of Bell County, and I look forward to continue serving as your county commissioner. Now, I think there'll be some contested seats on the Republican side, on the Democratic side, and, I'm a political animal. I love politics. I love seeing people go out and make their case to the people. And ultimately, it's going to be the people that decide who they want representing them. So if you listen to this podcast, I was at a convention in College Station, and I was talking to another commissioner, and he used to be a radio sports announcer. And I told him, I said, hey, I got a podcast. I've been doing a podcast since right before I took office. And that was like at the beginning of the convention of the conference. And then maybe a day or two later, I saw him and he was like, hey, I listened to your podcast. I like what you're doing. I might have to start a podcast. But I've already heard it a couple of times in several conventions, even several political functions that I've been to, that, people need to do more podcasts. We need to have more of our messaging going out there into the world, into the universe, than on the right. Because right now there's just a lot of Republicans out there that took advantage of this. But I have like 60 something episodes. I've been doing this for 3 years now. For your listening pleasure, 3 years worth of content now that's out there, and the going ons of Bell County and what we're doing. So I appreciate you for listening. Support the podcast, support my reelection. I'm going to put information in the show notes. So if you're interested in supporting the podcast, supporting my reelection, go donate. Campaigns are not cheap, and we're starting early. So go and donate, support, contribute, and I will talk to y'all next week.